areas, a lot of them were poor. All right, a lot of these girls had substance abuse problems. So what he did is he befriended them. And then he promised them all sorts of things. He would buy them alcohol. He would offer to pay for their phone bill. He would buy them some new clothes. Frankly, he would just show them attention, which is something that a lot of these girls hadn't received at home for a while. Once he befriended the girls, what he did is he came up with what he pitched to them as a new idea to earn some money, some spending money. He wanted to set them up with older men on a date. And of course, this date was really all about sex. And so he would pressure these girls into accepting that first date. Once he did that, once the girls worked one time for him, he would then threaten them. If they didn't want to do it again, that was no longer an option. What he would say is, look, if you don't continue to do this, I'm going to do the same thing to your brother or your sister. I'm going to beat you, and he did. He followed up on that threat many times. And he would prevent the girls from leaving this sex trafficking ring. And by the time he was done in Sioux Falls, he had close to 20 different victims. Now, they weren't all Native American, but a lot of them were. And they operated not only in Sioux Falls, but they operated throughout this area. And these weren't girls coming in from LA, from New York. These were our sisters, our daughters. These were our people that he was prostituting out. And some of the things, I mean, just absolute horror stories about what happened. Locking girls in a hotel room, as man after man would come in over a weekend. And the girls weren't fed, the girls weren't taken care of, and were told if you try to leave this hotel room, you're going to be beaten again. And those who tried to stand up to them were beaten. Our office found out about the case. We prosecuted the case. Thompson received a life sentence in federal prison. And we had hoped that, look, hopefully this is just an outlier. I mean, this is still South Dakota, right? We won't see this again in South Dakota. Brenda, you know, we have. We've seen it all too often. Carmen, you know about this. We've had now in South Dakota, almost a dozen more cases of pimps trafficking young girls. So after Thompson, we had the case of Carl Campbell. To give you some ideas about some of his victims, one of them included a disabled girl, mentally disabled, riding her bicycle down the street. And he said, hey, come here. You want to earn some extra money? And before long, she was part of the sex trafficking. We have had in the Sioux Falls area well over 50 victims of commercial sex trafficking. So part of the solution when we're looking at this from a law enforcement perspective is, first of all, understanding, one, these girls are not prostitutes. All right? They are not criminals. They are victims, and they need to be treated as such. Also, part of this is recognizing that not only do we need to go after the supply side of this problem, not only do we need to go after the pimps, but we also need to go after the Johns. We need to go after the ones who want to have sex with children and pay money for them.